Imagine being trapped inside a city. No food, no hope of rescue. Enemy armies surround you from every side. Weeks turn into months. The dogs disappear first, then the rats, then the birds, and eventually, people begin eating human flesh just to survive. This isn't a horror movie. This actually happened during one of the darkest episodes in Chinese history, the Siege of Suiyang in 757 and 758 AD. For nearly 10 months, a tiny force of Tang Dynasty defenders held out against an army many times their size. Their resistance helped save an empire, but at a cost so horrifying that the story remains controversial over 1,200 years later. This is the story of loyalty, desperation, and one of the most brutal sieges ever recorded. The An Lushan Rebellion. To understand the Siege of Suiyang, we first need to understand the crisis facing China. In the mid-8th century, the Tang Dynasty was one of the most powerful states on earth. Its capital, Chang'an, was among the largest and wealthiest cities in the world. But in 755 AD, everything changed. A powerful general named An Lushan launched a massive rebellion against the Tang government. What started as a military revolt quickly exploded into a civil war. An Lushan's forces swept across northern China. Major cities fell one after another. The Tang emperor fled. Entire provinces switched sides. At one point, it looked as if the Tang dynasty might collapse completely. Historians estimate that the rebellion ultimately caused tens of millions of deaths, making it one of the deadliest conflicts in human history. And right in the middle of this chaos stood a strategically important city called Suiyang. Suiyang wasn't the largest city in China. It wasn't the richest, but its location made it incredibly important. The city sat near critical transportation routes connecting northern and southern China. If rebel forces captured it, they would gain access to the rich agricultural regions of the south. Those regions supplied food, taxes, and manpower. In other words, if Suiyang fell quickly, the rebellion could spread even further. The man responsible for defending the city was a Tang official and military commander named Zhang Xun. Zhang Xun wasn't commanding a huge army. In fact, compared to the rebel forces he faced, his resources were tiny. But he was determined to hold the city no matter the cost. And that decision would change history. The siege begins. In 757 AD, rebel armies advanced towards Suiyang. The attackers numbered in the tens of thousands. Some historical accounts place their strength at over 100,000 troops during parts of the campaign. The defenders had only a fraction of that number. Normally, a city facing as such odds would surrender. Suiyang didn't. Instead, Zhang Xun used every trick he could think of. His soldiers launched surprise attacks. They conducted raids outside the walls. They used deception to make their numbers seem larger than they actually were. According to historical accounts, at one point defenders fired arrows made from grass and straw. The rebels initially laughed, but later the Tang soldiers launched real attacks, catching their enemies off guard. Again and again, the attackers were repelled. The siege dragged on. Weeks became months. The rebel commanders grew increasingly frustrated. Every day, Suiyang remained standing, delayed their advance deeper into Tang territory. Yet despite their successes, the defenders faced a problem that no amount of bravery could solve. Food. Starvation inside the city, 7 to 9:30. As the siege continued, supplies began to disappear. The city had been isolated for months. No major relief force arrived. No supply convoys broke through. The defenders started eating everything available: horses, dogs, birds, tree bark, wild plants. Anything remotely edible was consumed. But eventually there was nothing left. Historical sources describe widespread starvation. People grew so weak they could barely stand. Soldiers collapsed at their posts. Bodies accumulated throughout the city. Yet Zhang Xun refused to surrender. His reasoning was simple. If Suiyang fell, the rebels would gain a crucial strategic position. The fate of the Tang dynasty itself might be at stake. To him, surrender was unthinkable. What happened next would make the siege infamous forever. The cannibalism, 930 to 12. According to traditional historical records, when all food supplies were exhausted, cannibalism began. The accounts are deeply disturbing. Some sources claim Zhang Xun first sacrificed members of his own household. Others state that women within the city were killed and used as food. As conditions worsened, more inhabitants were reportedly consumed. The exact numbers are debated, but there is broad agreement that cannibalism occurred on a significant scale during the final stages of the siege. One Tang source claimed that tens of thousands of civilians died. Another reported that only a few hundred people remained alive when the city finally fell. Whether every detail is accurate or not, the overall picture is clear. The defenders were enduring one of the worst starvation crises ever recorded during a military siege, and still they fought on. For months, long after most cities would have surrendered, long after survival itself seemed impossible. The fall of Suiyang, 12 to 1330. Eventually the end came. In late 757 or early 758, depending on the stage of the campaign being discussed, the exhausted defenders could no longer continue. The city was finally captured. When rebel forces entered Suiyang, they reportedly found only a tiny number of survivors. The once defiant garrison had been reduced to a shadow of itself. Zhang Xun was captured. The rebels demanded that he surrender and serve them. He refused. Instead, he remained loyal to the Tang dynasty until the very end. He was executed shortly afterward, but although Suiyang had fallen, its defenders had achieved something remarkable. They had delayed the rebel advance for months, and that delay mattered a lot. Did Suiyang save the Tang dynasty? 1330 to 1430. Many historians argue that the defense of Suiyang played a crucial role in preserving the Tang dynasty. By tying down large rebel forces and delaying their movement southward, Zhang Xun bought valuable time. Time for Tang loyalists to regroup, time to organize defenses, time to secure vital resources. Had Suiyang fallen immediately, the rebels might have seized the economic heartland of southern China. The consequences could have been catastrophic for the dynasty. In that sense, the defenders may have helped save the empire. But that achievement came at an almost unimaginable human cost. Conclusion, 1430 to 1500. The Siege of Suiyang remains one of history's most difficult stories to judge. Was Zhang Xun a hero who sacrificed everything to save his country? Or was he a commander who pushed his people beyond the limits of human endurance? More than 1,200 years later, historians still debate the answer. What isn't debated is the siege's brutality. Few battles in history demonstrate the extremes of human loyalty, suffering, and survival as vividly as Suiyang. It stands as a reminder that some of history's greatest victories come with costs so terrible that they challenge our understanding of what victory really means. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's most shocking sieges, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what historical event you'd like to see covered next. Thanks for watching.